Hello and welcome back once again to After the Credits. So got around to seeing another new movie, fairly new. It's only been open a couple weeks, and that movie is Warcraft. What did I think of Warcraft? It was fun for what it was. Let's put it that way. There really wasn't a whole lot to the story that we haven't seen a million times before in other movies. It's really kind of cliche, follows all the tropes kind of step by step with the character setups and everything. But it was fun to see Warcraft on the big screen. The blend of the CGI with the human action, honestly I kind of just wish they would have done the whole thing as a CGI feature and tried, instead of trying to have the humans in with it. It wasn't a horrible blend, but at the same time the seams were really visible. Especially when it came more to like working with the dwarfs in Ironforge than with like the orcs. Like the orcs weren't bad when they were the normal skin colored orcs, but when you got to like the green orcs it was kind of obvious. And then like even the normal colored orcs, when they were right next to a human, it was still kind of like, wow, that's heavy CG. But overall it was a fun movie. Getting to see the characters brought to life on the big screen. The story actually keeps it in the realm of Warcraft, and keeps us on Azeroth. It doesn't bring us to Earth or anything dumb like that. It's not like Earth in the early centuries, although maybe Azeroth is supposed to be Earth. I don't know. I don't know the whole backstory behind Warcraft. I never actually played any of the Warcraft games up until World of Warcraft, and I only played that for a short time and then kind of lost interest in it. And unfortunately, with it being an MMORPG, there's no real single player campaign that you can do through it, which kind of kills games for me. Like I don't like buying games and spending all that money and then I can only play it if I subscribe to a monthly access to their servers. And then like other games, when they go offline and we're going to shut down our servers because no one really plays anymore. Well, what happens to all the people that did play and just were taking a break and now they want to come back? And guess what? I paid all this money for this game and I can't play it anymore because the servers are down. There should really be a standalone where you don't need to have access to all the servers to play it. There should be some type of single player mode in those, but that's kind of getting off on a different tangent. I'll probably cut a large portion of that out. But back to the movie. What did I think of the movie? Like I said, it was fun for what it was, seeing all those characters brought to life. Got to see a lot of familiar things, like I said, Ironforge. We get to go to Stormwind. We see, I can't remember the orcs' place, the Badlands area, where it's all kind of dead and desertish. We get to see the dwarfs. We get to see orcs, obviously. We get to see night elves. I think they were night elves. They might have been blood elves. There's just all kinds of people in there. Different classifications, warriors, mages, all that kind of stuff. There's all this little story wrapped into it, but the story itself was kind of obvious where it was going. The orcs have destroyed their land due to the evil green magic that one of the head chiefs has gotten access to, and every time he uses it, it makes the orcs stronger in his clan or other clans that fall under his rule, but at the same time it's killing the land because it takes life to give strength. So their land's kind of dead, so they open up this portal to come to Azeroth where they're going to take over this new land. And then the first wave of invasion, then the one junior chieftain, he kind of sees that every time since they've come here, this was a beautiful land just like their world used to be, but as this magic is growing in the new land now, it's becoming dead, so he kind of sees that this needs to stop. They're the ones that killed their own land, and it's not really fair to do that to other people when they could probably live in peace and have part of the land for themselves if they approached it right. So he tries to make peace with the humans to try to bring down this main power that's destroying everything, which is the head chieftain. He kind of gets found out that he's sort of being a traitor, and there's an ambush and things happen, so there's a little bit of distrust between the two sides, but at the same time they still feel they can trust him. And then it just kind of plays out like it normally would. You find out who empowered the orcs with this evil magic, and it turns out to be the most obvious person. I kind of saw it as soon as this person showed up, and I was like, yeah, he's gonna be the bad guy. And yeah, they kind of have their little war, and that's kind of the end. It doesn't really resolve. It's actually left quite vaguely open for sequels. So I don't know if they've already signed deals for sequels, or they're just hoping that it's good enough to have a sequel. Yeah, overall, it wasn't bad, though. Like I said, I've seen, as I played World of Warcraft, each time there's a new expansion, the first time you load it, it gives you this playthrough of the events that have happened since the time of the previous version. And they're almost like little cinematic movies in their own right. They're about 15 minutes long. Honestly, I think they could have just kept doing that because those look beautiful as it is. And they could have pieced it together like a 2-hour movie of an event and just kind of ran from that. But having the human interaction, I kind of see why they did it, but it wasn't necessary. It could have just been a full CGI fest and it would have been amazing. The inclusion of the humans kind of took me out of it a bit. That's kind of predictable, but overall not a horrible movie. It was fun. It was, especially if you're a fan of Warcraft or World of Warcraft, it was fun just to see characters and environments and like the hippogriffs and things like that. It's just fun to see all those. The sword, what is it called? Frostmourne or something like that. That appears. Yeah, all kinds of little things like that. It's just like, hey, I recognize that. Hey, that's from this. Hey, I recognize that. So as far as a star rating on this one, I'm going to give it a 3.5. For what it was, if it was any other movie other than Warcraft, it would have been a 3. Just straight shot movie. Hit all the tropes, follow everything. It's easy to follow because you know what's going to happen. It gets a little bumped because it is Warcraft, and there's a lot of little Warcraft nods within it, which I do like. So yeah, it gets a little bit of a bump up for that. Had it had a solid ending instead of leaving it open to a sequel, or if the story had just been a little bit better scripted and constructed, it probably would have been closer to a 4, which I haven't rated anything a 4 in quite a while, I don't think. But yeah, so it was getting there, it fell a little short from what I was expecting. So overall, would I recommend it? Yes, especially if you like Warcraft or World of Warcraft. You'll probably enjoy it. But it's not much more than, actually, the cutscenes that I've seen from World of Warcraft expansions. Honestly, a little bit more grabbing than what this was. It kind of start watching those, you're like, oh wow, what's going on here? And then you want to see more of it, and then it just stops and you start playing the game. Yeah, would like to have seen a little bit more of the in-depth story like that instead of just the generic cookie cutter bad guys coming to invade, for the Horde, for the Alliance, Yeah, overall, I had fun watching it. So that's my review of Warcraft. Not sure how many more of these I got coming up. I think maybe 1 or 2 more. We'll have to see. But yeah, so until then, as always, thank you guys for watching. Remember, like, comment, rate, subscribe, share the video. Social links are down there in the description, as well as up here in the corner if you're on YouTube. And until next time, as usual, we will see you after the credits.